Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Thibodeau, and I'm the Senior Director of Career Services at Oakland University. I have the honor of serving as the moderator of today's community conversation titled Workforce Development, Talent Needs of Today and Tomorrow. At Oakland University, we have 4 strategic goals focused on student success, research, community engagement, and diversity. At OU, I have the pleasure of leading a career services team that intentionally prepares students for the job market, connects students to the internships and jobs, and we assist employers and industry partners with recruitment strategies to create a pipeline of talent at OU. Prior to moving into higher education, I spent 10 years in corporate industry in various HR and college relations, leadership roles, recruiting students from college campuses. I've been at OU for 18 years in career services, leading our efforts around the career life cycle. I sit on the Oakland County Workforce Development Board, co-lead the Economic and Workforce Pillar for Oakland University and the City of Pontiac Initiative, and am an active member of the National Career Leadership Collective organization to enhance career education. The Oakland University City of Pontiac Initiative has been a strong, committed collaboration between the City of Pontiac and Oakland University. For the past 6 years, the university and city have shared a vision to improve the quality of life and opportunities for Pontiac residents. I want to thank the City of Pontiac Mayor, Dr. Deidre Waterman, and Oakland University President, Dr. Ora Peskovitz, for their visionary leadership that has sustained and advanced the collaboration. I also thank all the community partners, organizations, corporations, and schools involved in the OU Pontiac Initiative. We find that in the midst of a pandemic, the importance of leaning on our strong bonds and relationships among our communities help unify and strengthen each other for a common purpose and a shared belief in a better tomorrow. We view workforce development as providing access to job opportunities while developing the tools, processes, and skills of individuals to be productive citizens and prosperous in the workplace. I am joined today by 5 prominent company representatives from distinct industries who recruit talent for a variety of needs, including skilled trades, certificate programs, associate degree candidates, and those with 4-year and advanced degrees. To set the stage for today's community conversation, we have prepared a few questions for our panelists. Feel free to ask questions in the chat during the forum. We will also hear from the manager of Oakland County Workforce Development and director of Oakland County Michigan Works, Jennifer Llewellyn, who will share key resources, support programs in and around the City of Pontiac. We will then open up the floor to participants who may have additional questions for the panelists. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone participating in today's virtual forum that we will provide a resource guide following today's event. So now I would like to introduce our panelists, and we have the privilege of multiple industries represented. First, we have Keontae Davis, who is with St. Joseph Mercy Oakland. And if you would like, Keontae, if you could talk a little bit about who you are and your title, your role, as well as how many years you have served in the City of Pontiac. So thank you very much for opening us up, Keontae.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction. So my name is Keontae Davis, and I have been with St. Joseph Mercy Oakland for a little over 6 years. I actually am a former City of Pontiac employee where I actually worked for the city for about 5 years in HR and have family connections. So very proud of our city. My organization has been located in the City of Pontiac for over 90 years, so we are definitely a trusted community partner and appreciate all of our Pontiac residents as well as Oakland County. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Keontae. Next, we have Vince DeLeonardis with Auch Construction.
Thank you very much, Wayne, and we certainly appreciate being a part of this program. So my name is Vince DeLeonardis. I am CEO of Auch Construction. We've been located in Pontiac since 1985. We were founded actually in the city of Detroit in 1908. For us, we appreciate being in the city of Pontiac. that the engagement with the community, the support that we've received has been outstanding. In 2018, we had a ribbon cutting for a new office building located at University and Y-Track. And through that process, we worked very closely with the community. And again, we had complete support, and we were very pleased to be able to move into that downtown Loop area. Being in Pontiac, being in a great community like this, it's given us a lot of opportunities to get involved in workforce development, working with the community partners, working with the various trade unions, the school to work programs. We've been able to actually hire interns and expose them to the construction industry. So look forward to the discussion more about the things that we see in the Pontiac area.
Thank you, Vince. Next, we have Chris Morris, and Chris is with Aluminum Blanking Company.
Hi, everybody. I just have to make the screen a little smaller so I can see my notes there next to you. Again, my name is Chris Morris. I've been with Aluminum Blanking Company for about 6 years. We celebrated our 40th year in Pontiac in 2019. We currently have about 135 people. We're about 15 to 20 people short of our goal of having enough people to run production. So I'm not sure if I have the kind of jobs that your job seekers might be looking for. We tend to specialize more in entry-level positions that don't really require any college or maybe not even any experience at all. So we are hopefully providers of stable employment with good benefits, plenty of hours, a good safe work environment. That's all I can think of right now in a manufacturing environment. So we are just in a pandemic like we are right now, struggling terribly to have enough people to keep our doors open even.
Thank you, Chris. We will certainly have time this afternoon to talk a little bit more about those specific needs and maybe the skill set that you're looking for. So thank you. Next, we have Crystal Gordon from United Wholesale Mortgage.
Hello, so excited to be here with you guys. I feel like we're babies when it comes to our time in Pontiac. We've only been here, we're coming up on 3 years, which is amazing to me that the time flew so quickly, but we're excited to be here and the time here has been amazing. My name is Crystal Gordon. I've been with the company for 3.5 years. So I also haven't been with the company long. I joined shortly before we moved to Pontiac, and it was a very exciting move. I think the entire company, I can speak on behalf of them when I say our time here, our campus here is amazing, and we've loved it so far. As far as the things that we've done to partner, I think there's a ton of opportunity. I would love to find new ways to partner. We have an amazing relationship with Wayne and his team over at OU, right there in our backyard. So I love that partnership, and we've been able to benefit, I feel like, on both ends, and we're constantly looking for ways that we can continue to partner, whether it's with the city of Pontiac, with Oakland County. Right now, our sports complex is being utilized for vaccines. So again, any way that we can partner, we're always looking for new ways, and we basically have an open door policy around here when it comes to those partnerships. So excited to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Crystal. And last but not least, we Anna Swass from Williams International.
Hi, everyone. Anna from Williams International. We're in manufacturing. We're in the aerospace industry. We manufacture gas turbine engines for commercial and military markets. I'm part of the HR team here. I've been with the company for about 4 years, and much like Crystal, Williams is a baby to the city of Pontiac. We also moved here in 2018, and it's gone by so quick. It's been a great facility for us. There's a lot of change in the organization. There's a lot of potential for opportunities, and we've certainly tried to stay engaged with the city and any initiatives. We love learning, we love participating. It's been, I think, a really good partnership, and any opportunity that we get to participate with the community, we're excited to do so. So thank you for having us here today.
Thank you so much, Anna. We will now go through a series of some questions and allow our panelists to answer these questions. Maybe what I'll do is reverse order. Anna, since you spoke last, we'll keep her rolling. But the first question is, what do you consider to be top talent needs? Obviously we hear mixed feelings, certainly about certain industries and opportunities as we get through this pandemic, but what do you see are important skills of today and that are most necessary to be successful?
Yeah, so I think this question is probably twofold. I'm going to echo what Chris probably mentioned. Right now, the biggest need for us is probably more on the entry level and the manual side. We talk so much about advanced manufacturing and the skill set needed for people to come in trained and with some level of technical skill set that requires, either an associate's degree or whatnot, so they can go be manufacturing analysts or technicians or programmers of CNC equipment. All that is vital, but I think we've lost a little bit of sight on the need for that talent that is doing hands-on work, that is doing the manual operation, whether it's bench work or assembly at an entry level, things like that. I think we need to start thinking about how do we market those jobs, because they can still be fulfilling. They're still part of a candidate pool that can have successful careers in those areas. How do we market that so that people feel like it's going to be they can thrive in those careers and eventually progress to something else, but we need to build that skill set to remain there for a few years, right? I think that's our biggest struggle right now.
Thank you, Anna. We may hear some similar, feedback from the other companies, but what we'll also talk a little bit later on is where to find those opportunities. Where are the postings? Where do we access them? And I think in the community conversation discussion, it's a great opportunity for us through the Oakland University Pontiac Initiative to develop these strategies for the city of Pontiac to locate, connect with talent. So great way to start us out for sure. How about Crystal? Let's go to you next.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm starting to hear a common theme with that entry level type of role, which is shocking to hear as an employer. You think that those are the ones that are easy to fill. So we're in the similar boat, but on the corporate side, right? So we need those entry level client customer service type of positions. And really the skill set is just that, customer service, whether it's in a restaurant or in another type of environment. We have little barrier to entry when it comes to being considered for opportunities at UWM. And I think the skill set really is because we do have such a wide casted net, and we're considering all industries and individuals with all levels of experience and schooling. I think when they come in, the skill gap is probably those basic technical skills, right? Just your basic computer skills. So when we talk about the gap, that's what I'm seeing. And that's our biggest need right now is those entry level client customer service type of roles. In addition to that, we're also looking for underwriters, which would require a bachelor's degree. So we've got those two needs in our world on the corporate finance side of the house.
Excellent. Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate that. And how about Chris Morris with Aluminum Blanking? Sure.
Our mix of manufacturing positions and salary positions is about 3/4 manufacturing. And of those jobs, we have a very small step of progression. So a person can come in the door with pretty much no prior skills, and then they can be trained in-house up to the fourth or top level, which is an equipment operator position. And I have seen people do that in 2 years. They even have come in the door as a temporary employee, and that's generally 60 to 90 days. And then they're hired in as a regular employee. We have three different shifts, because we run not all operations, but many, about 24 hours a day. So we have a variety of shifts that we hope would accommodate everyone. And then also within that manufacturing area, our technical need would be for automation technicians that would help keep our equipment running in proper order. And we call those a multi-craft position, where they don't have to be a specialist at anything. They might know some basic electrical, hydraulics, pneumatics, that kind of thing that they often can learn in a technical type of an environment. I'm not even sure if Oakland University has that, but that is very helpful. And in my 21 years in HR, I have seen those jobs being harder and harder to fill, but the need is still there. And I know as a mom, we've encouraged our kids to get an education so that you can have a better job that, is on a higher pay scale, where they might not have to get their hands dirty. But there are so many good jobs that for people that do love to get their hands dirty and love to work hands-on with equipment. So we have seen those jobs being harder to fill, yet there's a very good need for those. So they're, I think, very fulfilling and very needed, and very also good paying. We have certain types of warehousing and logistics type of positions where we do, and all the normal functions of accounting and HR and IT and things like that. We're just much smaller on that. And our people tend to stay with the company many years. Some of them have been here since the door opened 40 years ago. So we don't have as many of those type of jobs. And I'm so looking for more practical entry-level jobs like high-low driver and things like that. And in the community, I know that there's a need for those types. So we must not be doing as good of a job as we think of marketing our company and our positions that we have. I would love to know how to do that better. Pastor Douglas, I would love to put a flyer at your church. We put them in apartments near us. Many of our associates don't have transportation of their own. We do partnerships with like Grace Center of Hope, where we offer either modified shifts for people who rely on public transportation to get to work and home. So we try to be as creative as we can to match those type of opportunities. I know there's people out there that need these jobs, and I would love to meet them and put them to work.
Thank you, Chris, for that statement. One of the things that I'm really excited about this Oakland University Pontiac initiative is that we have various educational partners at the table, right? So it's not just Oakland University. We have Oakland Community College. We have Oakland Tech Schools with Paul Gabinski. So we have multiple ways to connect to talent. But I think you're on to a very hot topic as well, as how do we get the word out in the city of Pontiac? And so that's why we have great partners with Jennifer Llewellyn, her team in the city of Pontiac. And so we're going to allow her the opportunity, once we get through a series of a couple of questions, to talk a little bit about their support, the resources, and what we're doing to maybe fill those gaps and those barriers. So thank you for that introduction of those topics. Next, we'll turn it over to Vince with Auch. If you could tell us a little bit more about your areas.
Okay, it seemed like it was going to be so easy to unmute. But Auch, being located in Pontiac, we have about 120 employees currently working. And of those employees, about 10% of it is administrative type jobs, accounting, marketing, the support functions, to operate, it's probably across many businesses. Then about 50% of our workforce is actually in the field and is composed of primarily project superintendents. Those individuals have come up generally through the trades. Some do have engineering degrees, and they are the ones supervising the work. Again, we're primarily a professional services organization. So those represent about half, or 60% of our company. The other portion is our operations, which are project engineers and project managers. Now, we promote primarily from within to those project manager roles. So what we're looking for are individuals that have construction management degrees or perhaps engineering degrees. So that is what's going to staff, say, Auch construction. But if I can have the liberty to talk about a little bit about our industry here in Michigan, that with the skilled trades, we have about 175,000 individuals working on construction projects, carpenters, laborers, operating engineers, operating the equipment for the sites. And these are excellent, well-paying jobs. Construction laborers is a skilled position, but sometimes can also be a stepping stone to some of the other skilled trades. And to get into those trades, many of the firms, which are called either merit shop or perhaps non-union firms, will provide their own training programs. They'll also partner with community colleges for some of that training. But then we also in Michigan are very blessed to have a very robust apprentice training program. And these apprentice programs are partnerships between management and labor, who then support these programs that often involve about 4 years of on-the-job training. It involves often 500 to 1,000 hours of classroom training and opens the door to well-paying jobs. These apprenticeships result in being paid from day one. But some of the challenges, and we'll talk maybe a little bit later, is how can people be aware of these programs and how do you get in? And what are the skills required? Because these entry applicants, they do need to have solid math skills. So sometimes folks will think, hey, individuals, you can just walk up to a construction site and go to work. But it is a technical skills that we need for those positions. And once in the trades, and as individuals are working up, particularly to foreman positions, it often can result in six-figure salaries. So we do, and as an industry, we're really pushing the fact that these are professional careers. These are the professional trades. So right now, we're adding about 5,000 jobs a year in construction in Michigan with the natural growth, and this is over the last 10 years. But we're also faced with retirements. That represents another 4 or 5%. So another perhaps 5,000 to 7,000 jobs a year that we need to replace those retirees. So for us, it's really trying to get the word out about the quality of the jobs, the professional careers that can be developed. And we do have a severe need to get individuals into the program. So we're working very closely with our community partners and outreach programs to let people know what it takes to get into the skilled trades. So that's a real emphasis of our company right now. And it's a problem we've seen for years, and we really haven't done much about it. It's like, well, we need individuals on the job tomorrow. If we don't start this, when are we going to get them into the pipeline? So I think we're getting much more organized and focused on that.
Great. Thank you, Vince. Appreciate that update from your industry. Next, I want to allow Keontae to talk about the healthcare side of the industry perspective.
Thank you. So St. Joseph Mercy Oakland is a very strong supporter of Pontiac, and we recognize our civic responsibility as well as our mission to be a transforming and healing presence in our communities that we serve. So each year we designate time, energy, and community benefit dollars to programs and initiatives that deliver on that mission. And so that also helps us to work with various partners within our community to try to attract new colleagues. Being in healthcare, we are very lucky that we have jobs in just about any area that you can think of, whether it's entry level, food service, environmental service, professional entry level. So if you are interested in the radiology field, surgery field, There are certifications that you can get to work in our organization. Then, of course, you have your professional positions where you have, your traditional nursing, lab, and things of that nature. So we have jobs for any career that you could think of. And we also, because again, we're a 24-hour, 365-day-a-year organization, if you're going back to school and you want to look at a part-time job, we have part-time opportunities. If you're looking for a second job, we have contingent opportunities where you can pick up shifts here and there. We're also very lucky in that if you are, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you want to get back into the working field, you can work midnights. I mean, you can work afternoons. We just have lots of flexibility. And of course, we also have lots of openings, as others have said. We probably have about 200, a little over 200 positions that we're recruiting for right now. So we're constantly looking for all types of people, all types of places in their life, as well as education levels, from high school all the way to PhDs and MDs. So if you think you want to do it, and then similar, if you're interested in HR, if you're interested in finance, we still have to also run the business. So we have the business side as well. So healthcare is something that I think a lot of people think of nurses and doctors, but there's just so many opportunities there, and we're always looking for good people.
Thank you, panelists, for getting us started on this conversation. I think there's an evidence of need in the industry right now. And during a pandemic, you throw that in the fold, and it kind of doubles the maybe the challenges, right, for candidates or applicants to be finding the opportunities, but also for feeling safe and feeling confident out there in the industry. But I think I think there's a misconception that there's no jobs or there's lack of jobs, and so I think all of you have emphasized there are many needs of different caliber of opportunities. And so that's what this great career or this community conversation is about today, of opening the minds, opening the connections, whether you're an applicant still pursuing or looking for work now, or you have connections in the city of Pontiac or businesses or a variety of organizations that can help applicants find their way. That's what this conversation is about today. I'm going to just open it up a couple of other quick conversations, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Jennifer Llewellyn, because I think that's going to be a critical connection as we talk about resources and we talk about closing the gap and making sure that our city is fully aware of the resources and ways to connect to talent and organizations. Some of you hit on this question already, but I think I want to expand it just a little bit to make sure all the industries have a voice and have a chance to respond to this. But what do you consider as some of the key skill gaps that you're finding in either applicants or in the process for recruiting talent today? I know we mentioned transportation. I believe we heard math skills. We've heard some technical challenges or gaps. But what I want to do is open it up to each of your industries and your organizations. Are there other either gaps or skills that you're finding are lacking, or we need to continue to advance to make sure these folks are ready to hit the ground running when they enter your organization? Vince, do you want to start off? I know you mentioned a couple of those, but is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's those foundational skills in construction. You do want those tradespeople to understand math. We want those stairs to line up, right? But also too, it's the digital literacy, the ability to use technology on the jobs. That's what's advancing, say, our industry, improving productivity. So, those basic skills, and then also just the general employment skills. The construction industry still is going to be a bit traditional in that jobs are running, say, 7 to 3:30. And you need folks on those jobs, reliably. So, the flexible workplace can be accommodated, and we've worked to help bridge that gap. But, there are still some traditional things that go with our businesses that just can't change, that make it, say, a bit of a challenge. So it's those employment skills, digital literacy, and the basically foundation English and math.
Great, thank you. Crystal, how about where you're at UWM?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, we have very little barriers to entry when it comes to considering applicants for opportunities at UWM. We have a ton of entry level. We take individuals, so we're in the mortgage industry, and I think there's a misunderstanding of, well, to be an underwriter, I must have to have some kind of experience in the mortgage industry. We teach people from the ground up. We teach them how to underwrite loans. We teach them how to process loans. We have a full 6 to 10 week training course that we'll put candidates through to get them fully ramped up to perform in some of these amazing opportunities, true careers, I think, as Ben said. So to come in, right, the barrier, there's not necessarily a barrier, but some of the things that we're looking for, because you don't have to have the mortgage experience. So we're looking for some basic computer skills, maybe even soft skills. I know we haven't talked about that yet. So your basic soft skills, that camaraderie, team building mindset, the desire to want to provide elite client service, right? So some of those soft skills are another gap for us, we're finding. But in addition to that, computer skills, everything else we teach on from all aspects, right? Even on our sales side, if you have a year of sales experience, we're going to teach you the mortgage industry. We're going to teach you everything you need to know about brokers and the government guidelines, and we're going to teach all of that. So there's minimum expectations coming in the door. So if I had to identify something specific, I would say those computer skills, the ability to navigate through complex computer systems, right? So multitasking, and you've got a Zoom up, and you've got your email, and you've got, those types of environments, because everything's done electronically. Do you have to be a whiz? No, you just have to be able to function within a computer system. And then maybe those soft skills. I would say those are our key ones.
Excellent. Thank you, Crystal. How about Chris? Anything else to add?
I think I have to agree with Crystal and chime in on more of the soft skills. We don't really need a lot of technical expertise at all. Possibly, like I already mentioned, on the maintenance technician side, and even those we promote from within. After people have been in the workforce and they talk about a desire to learn that side, we're happy to teach them. But definitely the soft skills, just what my mom and dad would have called common sense or common courtesy. So if you're not going to be at work, please let someone know. It is a team environment, and your presence is needed each and every day. So when you're not here, you're missed. When you're not here and ready to start each time the line starts and stops for various reasons, being present, being engaged, wanting to learn, available to learn, and just offering your hands, your eyes, your ears as to be a helpful teammate in order to be willing to learn. That's really all we need. And I remember when I was coming into the workforce, it seemed to be a different kind of a place where you just were constantly looking for the opportunity to prove yourself and to even have a job at all. And it seems like we've gone at least 180 degrees on that, where we have so much opportunity and need some people that are interested and ready to try. So I hope my floodgates will be wide open after this.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Just a reminder to all the participants, if you have a question at this time, if you want to put a question in the chat, we'll go ahead and collect that. And I want to get to Keontae next in terms of any skill or gaps or barriers at this time.
So what we are really seeing is a skill gap in what we call our entry-level professional jobs. So like our farm techs, our phlebotomists, so all of those roles that we need to partner more with schools to bring those programs back. We saw a lot of these programs shut down. And so now we're noticing a skill gap because it's not something we can train on the job, and we need people to have certifications, et cetera. So we're in a lot of discussions with various school partners to say, how can we bring a lot of these certification programs back? So I know everybody focuses on the bachelor's and the associates, but a lot of these jobs are very well paying jobs that require, 6-month, 90-day one-year certifications, and then that introduces them to potentially continue to advance their career. But if they want to stay in these careers, they can definitely take care of families with them. So I think as we see more and more of those programs opening up and people understanding about these fields, med techs. When I say for med techs, we are drowning, and that is a very well-paying job. We really just need our schools to partner with us to bring a lot of these programs back so that we can get these people employed.
Excellent, thank you. And Anna, feel free to add anything else new to the discussion.
I'll focus on the manufacturing side for us. Obviously, we employ, salaried and whatnot, but manufacturing, I think, is probably the biggest struggle. I would say computer skills, just basic computer skills. And my example here is we live in a virtual world. If you want to find a job, you need to submit a resume online. And if that's the barrier to you getting employed, you might be so qualified and we want you, and we may even see it in your resume, but if we can't get you to submit an application, a quick 5-minute application, you're really like limiting yourself. So convincing people that is just basic necessary, like brushing your teeth in the morning. You need to be able to navigate inside of the internet. I think we need a lot more help over on that side, whether it's organizations teaching students or not even just the people coming out of school, but the pool at large in the community of Pontiac. How do we get them access to training on basic computer skills? I would say is a big one. The other, not necessarily a gap, but something that we really struggle with is we operate 3 shifts, and we need people willing to work an off shift. And I understand that this has always been an issue. Everybody wants to have, the 9 to 5, but opportunities, good, solid opportunities are available on off shifts. And Williams, for example, has a comprehensive shift premium program. The longer you stay in an off shift, the more you get on a premium basis, because we understand it's a compromise. And my example there is we've partnered with the technical campuses, or even gotten students from the associate programs in manufacturing technology, and so they're knowledgeable, they're hungry to learn, they want to be here. We train them through apprenticeships or internships. The moment we want them to progress, we want them to rotate through an off shift, and they're not willing to do it. They don't want to do it. They are stuck on first shift, and again, they're limiting themselves. They could go be an assistant team lead on a second shift and gain those people skills and more process skills, but they refuse to do it at the expense of being on a first shift. And so trying to convince people around that, I think, is a big gap.
Thank you, Anna. I'm going to deviate from the questions right now, but I want to introduce Jennifer Llewellyn. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. Again, Jennifer is our manager of Oakland County Workforce Development and the director of Oakland County Michigan Works. And I can tell you deep heartedly, Jennifer and her team do a wonderful job partnering with all the organizations in and out of the city of Pontiac and in Oakland County. I sit on her Oakland County Workforce Development Board and hear every month all of the great support, all of the great services. And I think this is great timing, Jennifer, because we've heard quite a bit about some gaps or some challenges in the areas of digital literacy. We've heard also about employment skills, some of those basic skills, lack of computer literacy, maybe the soft skills, along with applying online, access to applying virtually to jobs. These are some challenges. And so I want to allow you the opportunity, Jennifer, to talk to all the participants this afternoon about some of those resources, about those connections you and your team make. And I think this would be a great window of opportunity. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Wayne. And it's great to see so many familiar faces on the call today. And as a proud Oakland University alum, thank you for your dedication in the city of Pontiac and being a true leader. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It's fascinating to hear from the employer's perspective, the pain points right now, because it's not unique to the businesses on the call. I was just chatting with some colleagues today, and we were saying how in April of 2020, it was a crisis for our job seekers. We were at a 19.5% unemployment rate in Oakland County in April of 2020. And right now, the most recent data we have is February of 2021. The unemployment rate in Oakland County was back down to 3.2%. And we are back where we were pre-pandemic. So the pains that our employers are feeling now are very similar to the pains that they were feeling before COVID, of difficulty finding employees. And then it's magnified by the individuals that have dropped out of the labor force. So in Michigan, we've lost approximately 150,000 women in the labor force, a lot of that related to them being at home while their children are learning online or other circumstances. So, we're in a situation now where we've shifted from the crisis for job seekers to a crisis for our employers. I'm sure many of you have gone to a restaurant sometime in the last few weeks or few months and had a sign on the door that they're not open because they don't have enough staff. And so, the pain that our employers are feeling, that's really where we've shifted our efforts in workforce development, is how do we find more candidates? How do we get some of those women back into the labor force? How do we get some of the underrepresented populations? How do we connect with veterans? How do we connect with returning citizens? How do we connect with our refugee and immigrant population, or our disconnected youth, those 18 to 24-year-olds that are disconnected from the workforce? So it's fascinating, that shift that has happened overnight, and a bit of a misconception on both sides, a misconception from residents that there aren't jobs available, and a misconception from some employers that there are people that are, not fully engaging in the job search. So, our goal is to bridge that gap. For those of you that aren't familiar, we do operate 6 Oakland County, Michigan Works locations, including one in the city of Pontiac. If you haven't met Chanel Shelby, the director of that office, I would encourage you to do so. We are co-governed by County Executive Dave Coulter and the Oakland County Workforce Development Board. And I'd like to acknowledge, as Wayne mentioned, he's a board member, but Mr. David Derbyshire, I see Paul Miles from Magna, and Anita Lord from MRS, who are also Oakland County Workforce Development Board members. But we, are really committed through the county executive to move the county forward. I hope you've heard about our Oakland 80 initiative. Our goal is to have 80% of Oakland County's residents have an industry recognized credential or higher by 2030. And this is an ambitious goal. Right now, the county is at about 61%. And so to the points that Chris and Crystal and Keontae made about some of those entry-level positions that might require a credential, not necessarily an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, but how do we get more individuals on career pathways or career trajectories where maybe they start as a CNA and then they progress to, an LPN or an RN and through that career trajectory. So watch for Oakland 80 a bit more. We did have to press pause over the last year, but increased efforts to get more county residents enrolled in education and training programs over the course of the next, 9 years. And hopefully we'll be able to see that through. Related to efforts for residents, a big focus of the last few years has been apprenticeship expansion. Just a few weeks ago, we were awarded a $625,000 grant, and thank you, Vince, for your letter of support. It was instrumental in helping to get that award. But that will be focused on apprenticeship expansion. There are funds available to offset the cost of new apprenticeship for employers. So employers can receive up to $3,000 for any new apprenticeship that they create. And we've had some great success. We created a medical assistant apprenticeship program in partnership with Henry Ford Health System, and just launched a new IT apprenticeship program in partnership with Bosch. And obviously the apprenticeships that already exist that, Vince suggested around construction, but, how do we create even more apprenticeship opportunities? And our goal is 250 new apprenticeships in the next 18 months. And how do we get young people and even adults to pursue those apprenticeships? On Monday, in partnership with Oakland Schools and OCC, we're hosting an Oakland County Apprenticeship Showcase, where young people, their parents, counselors, teachers can come and learn more about apprenticeships as a career pathway, and connect with our labor partners and businesses that offer apprenticeship opportunities across Oakland County. Also, beyond apprenticeship, a significant focus on training and education. So you've heard about our Oakland 80 goal. This aligns with Governor Whitmer's 60 by 30 goal, and also aligns with Futures for Frontliners, which was a program available to those essential workers that worked in that key period last year, where they can receive up to an associate's degree paid for through the local community college. And Michigan Reconnect for Michiganders 25 and older that have less than an associate's degree. They can also receive tuition assistance at their local community college. So we've made a big push on those efforts. But coupled with that, Oakland County Michigan Works offers up to $4,000 for individuals who are laid off or their jobs have been impacted by COVID, to go back to school and earn some of those industry recognized credentials. So I just read a success story today of a young man laid off from entry-level position. We provided funding for him to go to truck driving school. He's now earning $21 an hour as a truck driver. Read another success story from a woman, a professional woman who was laid off after 30 years at General Motors, thought this was the end of her career. We funded her to go back and obtain her PMP certification, and she was picked up by a tier 1 supplier and back in the labor force after a year out of work. So, offsetting those costs and helping people become competitive in the workforce is a key focus for us. For employers, just yesterday, I hosted a virtual job fair. I think some of the United Wholesale UWM was one of our employers that participated. We've done a lot of work with aluminum blanking as well. So we had over 50 employers participate. I think it was 55 companies. So really just trying to facilitate that connection, make our Pontiac residents and our Oakland County residents aware that there are jobs out there, that there are positions available, and really support them with those efforts. And last, I'd like to address the soft skills and digital literacy piece. This is a big challenge. Last year, we purchased a online soft skills training program, and we're actually incentivizing our youth participants to participate in those online soft skill software training programs. So they can earn $50 by participating in a series of online programs where they learn about, as Chris said, I think the common sense, the problem solving, communication, written communication, oral communication, time management. And it's been an effective program for us to connect with that population in particular, especially in a virtual format. So all of our youth participants that are participating in paid internships, training programs, apprenticeship programs, that is built into their program participation in an effort to improve those soft skills based on feedback from employers. In addition, on the digital literacy, it's a challenge right now because so many physical locations are closed, but working closely with the Oakland Literacy Council on their digital literacy efforts, Oakland Community College just developed a pre-apprenticeship program. So I'd like to give a plug for that program. We're looking for students to participate that covers both soft skills and pre-apprenticeship skills. And we're also working with them on a digital literacy curriculum that we can offer more broadly across the county. So we hear you. This is turning around the Titanic in many ways. But I feel confident, we're making a difference one person and one business at a time. And I've probably talked too long, but it's just so exciting. And there's so many great things happening that just love this work. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today, Wayne.
Jennifer, thank you for all that great information. I know your team is knocking it out of the park with all that you're doing and the support. One of the questions that did come up quite a bit is around transportation. And I'm sorry if I missed that, Jennifer, but could you maybe highlight some of those support services and where that's going right now?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I had a note about, not just transportation, but all the barriers. So, childcare, transportation, and other supportive services. We do have funding available, both federal funding, and we receive some foundation funding to help support individuals with overcoming some of those barriers to employment. I'll give you an example. One gentleman who was in our IT apprenticeship program did not have a driver's license. And so we were able to buy him a new bicycle so that he was able to get to his apprenticeship every single day. We work closely with OLSA and their amazing team to see how we can braid dollars together, whether it's support with utility payments. But transportation continues to be a barrier. I know the county executives team is very much committed to, looking at transportation as a whole in Oakland County. But we do have funds available. We've been able to assist with car purchases, car repairs, insurance payments. Sometimes, we take it for granted, but, the $25 to get the driver's license or the $200 to renew tabs, those are types of things that we are able to do to provide support. We did receive funding to provide some laptops for adult learners. We knew that the youth were taken care of through their school districts, but we were hearing from many adults that they did not have a laptop to be able to complete their education program. So in partnership with Automation Alley, we launched Laptops for Learning, and we're able to provide several hundred laptops across Southeast Michigan for those adult learners as well. So it's again, it's just chipping away at some of these barriers and really meeting people where they are. The last thing I forgot to mention is we're excited to announce our new Clean Slate initiative. So hopefully you heard Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist's announcement on Monday. The press release came out yesterday that the 16 Michigan Works agencies across the state were awarded funds to provide expungement services for individuals. We're thrilled to be launching it on April 27th in Oakland County. So individuals can apply right on the Oakland County Michigan Works website for service. They will have to provide personal information. They will have to provide some information about their record. Our team, we have an attorney on staff that will represent them. We will do their background checks and let them know if they meet the qualifications for expungement services. The information will be available on the website very soon. It's not up yet, but keep watching. And you'll see a press release from the county executive and our team probably sometime next week announcing the program. So we're thrilled to give some opportunities to individuals that may not have had opportunities for employment in the past, and look forward to launching that new initiative.
Excellent. Thank you once again, Jennifer, for all that great information. I'm so glad you mentioned the gaps in technology. You think about laptops for college students or high school students who are trying to manage at home with brothers and sisters and moms and dads, who are working from home, who are taking all the internet storage. And so we, even at Oakland University, have not only provided laptops to a lot of students, but also hotspots for access to internet. And I know that's been a big gap and a challenge in the city of Pontiac. So I appreciate all that you and your team are doing to connect technology as well. I did want to go ahead and field a question in the chat. Thank you, David Derbyshire. This is a very good question. I'm going to open it up to our panelists. What is the most common reason that an employee does not complete a 90-day or even their 180-day onboarding program. So is there significant reasons for some of that turnover in a short period of time? And I'll open it up. Crystal, do you want to respond to that for us?
I think that answer looks different now versus what it did maybe a year ago. We have an environment where we do on-site training. I think that even though our company does a great job of following all the CDC guidelines when it comes to protecting our team members with COVID, and we've followed all the guidelines and we do a great job of having a safe environment. And I think there are a lot of individuals that are hesitant to still come into a workplace environment, a corporate environment, with COVID still out there. So I think that we run into some of that when it comes to individuals staying beyond the 90 days. We have a very rigid, as I mentioned before, training program. Again, it takes an individual off the street that doesn't know how to spell mortgage, and we teach them everything. We take them from maybe working in a restaurant, being an amazing server for 2 years, and they come into our environment. We teach them everything. Sometimes they realize this is not the environment for me. And that's okay, but we'll give them a chance and we'll give them everything they need. Going from being on your feet and running to being behind a computer, because we do give individuals opportunities. Sometimes they don't know what they don't know. And then sometimes they're not successful with our training. We felt like in the interview process, they could do it. We were confident. And then they get into the training and they're unsuccessful. In those situations, we give them other opportunities. We never let them go if they have the right attitude and they're a great team member. We give them other opportunities. So maybe this one didn't work. Let's try over here and see if this is going to be a better opportunity. So we do give them other opportunities in those situations. But outside of that, I think that we're not seeing a lot of people just bail on us. I feel like my team does a great job of vetting out good individuals, right? Like we're not so honed in on that skill set. We're honed in on the right attitude. We're honed in on, do you have the drive? Are you excited about an opportunity? Are you, do you have that ability to build relationships and that camaraderie? And then most of the time they do. So they get in here and they're very successful. But again, I think it looks a little different right now. And then those folks that do part ways because they're not comfortable, the door is still open for them. And we make that very clear. When you're ready and you're comfortable, come back to us. So it's interesting right now, but we don't have a lot of turnover. They get in here, they're successful. We give them an opportunity. Even if we did place them in the wrong role, we'll find something else for them. So we haven't had a lot of turnover, especially in the last 12 months.
Thank you very much, Crystal. How about Chris? If you could talk a little bit about any most common reasons you're seeing turnover, not completing 90 or 180 days on the front end.
For us, it's so basic. It's attendance. We get into a bit of a vicious circle where the smaller and shrunken our workforce is, then those that are still in the workforce are being asked to work more overtime. And of course, in the pandemic, it's that same thing, the fear, the children at home, everyone's trying to share duties at home with children and that sort of thing. So it's definitely attendance. And we try to be very understanding. And when I was saying that, I hate to say the word common sense, but common courtesy, where you talk and speak up. If you have a problem at home, if you have a problem with your transportation, or if you have, we still have lives. We have people that are sick in our midst. We have death and having to go out of town and all these normal human interactions that have to occur, whether we're in a pandemic or not. And mostly we can deal with it if we get that communication, those soft skills where you reach out, let somebody know as soon as you know it. That's all you can do. We just ask that people, reach out and do what they can do. So for us, by far, it's just attendance and not having enough people to do the work that we have. We've actually changed around and have started to use that word that used to be the death knell for human resources in manufacturing, and that's robotics. And robotics are a very expensive solution, but we have actually started to implement that in our workplace because we don't have enough people. And so we can't do that fast enough. It takes time, it takes capital. And we are also expanding our revenue stream to have different things like warehousing instead of material processing that we've done in the past. So we're trying to look at what our customers need and how we can do that better. And I hate to say it in human resources, but to do it with less people. But that's where we are, and you have to match, what you're able to do with who you're able to do it with. So that's, for us, that's still a challenge, and I think it's going to be for a while.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Keontae, how about in healthcare?
So very similar. So there's a saying, you can teach skill, but not will. So if people are not committed to coming to work, that is a deal breaker, because at the end of the day, our patients need care. So we have to have you there. We have to have you there on time. It's really, really important. And then probably the second reason, which from that perspective, again, it goes back to patient safety, if someone isn't meeting the competency level. That's pretty rare. Most people are competent in what they've been licensed in, but every once in a while we do run across that. But the biggest one is people just not coming to work.
Anna, would you like to share?
Yeah, I am, again, I'll echo, I think the biggest one would be attitude towards the job. And I think that encompasses, attendance or your willingness to receive feedback as you're training. We do a lot of on-the-job training, and sometimes people think that they can run before they are walking, and we have a great team of managers and folks that are willing to teach people. We just need the right attitude here, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's just not a good fit. We don't see a lot of it, but that would be probably the biggest reason why a 90-day period doesn't work out. The other one on the technical side is we are high precision machining. And so it's a very different environment. Sometimes people from like an automotive assembly type of world it doesn't translate well. They think that an operator is an operator for machining or whatever it may be, but sometimes we have found that it does not translate well, and that's just specific to, I think, our operation. Those would probably be the biggest reasons for us.
Okay, and then Vince, if you could wrap up that question for us.
Yeah, that's a couple things. One is transportation. We've hired some individuals, and part of the vetting is that you have reliable transportation, and all of a sudden attendance is a problem, and we ultimately find out that they had a problem with that. So that becomes a barrier. Also, those soft skills of someone has a problem at home, and all of a sudden their performance is really down early on. Again, not showing up for work instead of coming forward with the problem so we can work through it together. It's just attributed to lack of interest. And then the last thing, it's hard sometimes. We look at, there's three basic things: that someone wants to do this, they have the competency or capacity to do it, and then do they get it? And a lot of that has to do with, ours is maybe just a little bit of a unique realm of, it takes a lot of commitment. It's almost a vocation, and in those areas. But they probably all revolve around communication and those good soft skills.
Excellent. Two quick comments that I wanted to bring into the discussion from Rosie. A reminder that this Pontiac Public Library does provide computer services. There are some limitations for training and maybe some use of computers, but the fact that that is a resource is a great reminder. So thank you so much. Jennifer, can you please go ahead and share more about the Business Resource Network? I think that would be a good time now too.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, we launched our first initiative that focused on employee retention. So we have a lot of experience in the outreach and training and layoff support space, but had never really focused on employee retention before. So the goal of the Oakland County Business Resource Network is we deploy success coaches out to a company for a window of time, usually a 2-hour block or a 4-hour block once a week. And those success coaches are available to any employee. There's no eligibility requirements who would like to speak confidentially with someone regarding any barriers that might be interfering with their ability to keep their job. So it started 2 years ago, 0 companies. We got it up to about 15 companies. We were able to cover 100% of those costs through state grants that we had available. Those state grants have now come to a close, but many of the companies have found value in it. So we've built an employer-funded model. We're looking for additional dollars to continue it at no cost to companies. But just to give you an example, we had a gentleman, one of our great employers, it's Whitson USA in Troy, was one of our founding companies to the Oakland County BRN, and they had an employee there. His Jeep broke down. It was going to cost him $875 to repair the Jeep. He didn't have that money to be able to do that. He was a long-term employee, a great employee, but he was taking 3 buses to get to work and 3 buses to get home. And obviously it was taking a toll on his work and his home life. So he went and spoke with our success coach, who was able to identify an emergency grant program to pay to have his Jeep repaired. And he was thrilled. He was able to keep his job. His employer, Whitson, was thrilled to be able to keep him there as an employee. He was going to look for something that was closer to home. And so, that's just one example. We've supported people with financial issues. We had an employee at a company, a BRM member company, that took out one of those payday loans, an $800 payday loan, only to learn that it had a 625% interest rate. Our success coach was able to work with the Attorney General's office to get that waived and get the loan canceled for that employee. So it's a confidential resource. People are often sometimes intimidated to go to their boss or to human resources with those types of issues. So if you're interested in more information about that program that focuses on employee retention, let us know.
Great update. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Carlton Jones has the next question, and thank you for this question, Carlton. I think it's an important one. We've heard quite a bit this afternoon about entry-level jobs, jobs that don't require degrees, don't require a certification even. And so the question for the panelists might be, how readily available are some of these entry-level jobs for our high school students and high school graduates? And I'm going to let you think on that. And before you answer the question, I want to introduce, there's a PK through 16 education pillar in the OU Pontiac initiative. And I can see, based on who's in the audience, there's a lot of participants who are either part of the PK through 16 pillar, or they have an impact in the lives of our K through 12 system and PK through 16 system. And so I think this is a very valid question about how do we get these high school students connected to entry-level opportunities with your organization. So I might just open it up. Chris, would you mind starting that response for us about high school graduates connecting to your opportunities?
I would love to start with that. We have a couple of different ways. The very easiest way is to come to our guard shack, which we're located right near the corner of Walton and Baldwin. I don't know who's familiar with the Rocket Restaurant Diner. We are located on Sheffield, right down the street from the Rocket. And if you drive down that street, you will have no way of avoiding our property. We're right at the end of that in a cul-de-sac. And Monday through Friday, at least, a person can come and get a paper application. They can take it home with them and bring it back and fill it out. We also have a website, and there's a link on the website. Just search for Aluminum Blanking Company in Pontiac, and you'll see our website. It tells quite a bit about some pictures of the the shop and what kind of jobs that we have on there. It talks about, I can think of at least 4 entry-level positions that we have, and the rates for them and all of the different, just like Anna said, we have shift premiums depending on that. And then we have an email. It's pretty simple. It's hrstaff@albl.com. And if they would like to reach out to us in any of those 3 ways, we would be getting back with them right away. We have a nice recruiter named Caitlin Schuster, and she will get back with them post-haste.
Chris, thank you so much for sharing the fact that you can also pick up paper applications. You know, in the challenges of COVID and during this pandemic, we have families in the city of Pontiac who may need that hard copy. And so thank you for reducing that barrier. But I will share with everyone participating in this call, we are actually going to provide, as part of the resource, a summary to everyone that's participating on what they mentioned, the email, and their links to all their jobs on their job posting site with all of the 5 companies. So that's going to be part of the follow-up resource that our team and our committee is putting together for you. So thank you for sharing that. Next, Crystal, if you could maybe talk about that high school candidate that's coming, they're graduating, and how do they connect?
Yeah. Our minimum positions, or our entry-level positions, they've got a minimum requirement of about a year of customer service. And then so have these individuals had an opportunity to even get a year in? Maybe in some cases, maybe not. So in those cases, absolutely, we would consider them. We have a few individuals that worked all through high school, and they are not even 18 by the time they graduate. So we had to get a work authorization for them. So our door is open for individuals just graduating high school. And I do, with that year of minimum experience, does create a barrier, obviously, for some individuals that never had an opportunity to work a job. We're actually partnering with a foster care organization that we're going to potentially do we haven't even come up with a name with it. I keep calling it a co-op of some sort, where we would have the on-site, I guess you could almost call it an apprenticeship, where we do the on-site training, right? Because again, we have this extensive training program. So if you have the right aptitude and we show you everything, do you have to be, you know, a certain age or so far out of high school to be able to pick up on this? The answer is no. So we want to test this out and see if this could be something that we could open up beyond these foster children that are aging out of the system. Because if we can train them up, they have the right aptitude. Maybe they don't need that year of experience. So we're pretty excited about that. So I guess you could look at it with that year of experience. Again, it could be McDonald's, it could be volunteer work even we will take into consideration. But we are looking for some level of customer service experience, at least a year. But hopefully this new program that we're working on will open up some more doors in the future.
So Crystal, just to clarify, could this 1-year experience be accumulated from high school students who may be working part-time jobs, you know, their junior, senior year at McDonald's or customer service? Does that apply to that 1 year?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. Let's move on to Vince. Would you like to answer that question, Vince?
Yes, that's for students coming right out of high school. Ideally, you know, we've reached out to the middle school students so that maybe they're taking some classes that prepare them in high school for, say, the skilled trades. But information is available, and we've shared with Wayne the websites, but some of them are pretty simple. It's constructioncareersmi.com. So that's constructioncareersmi.com. michiganconstruction.com is this second website, and Must Careers, MUST careers.org. That organization is management and unions serving together. And all 3 of these sites will provide information on apprenticeship programs where high school students can apply directly certain qualification, testing, and entry, which is basically a matter of timing and having those skills out of high school in math and English, pass those exams, they could potentially get into those programs. So those websites will provide excellent information on those apprenticeship opportunities.
Vince, thank you for the websites. I know that was probably difficult to capture for everyone, so we will include that. We'll add that to the resource guide following today's session and making sure that all three resources to those apprenticeships will be available. And the next three panelists, if you could also indicate if there's summer employment along with that for these high school students. So Keontae, if you could share next, please.
Happy to. So we have lots of entry-level positions: environmental service, food service, retail, and then COVID has created a new job we didn't expect, which is called a screener, where you literally take temperatures and direct people where to go. Those are all considered entry-level in high school, GED equivalent. That being said, you must be 18 to work at our organization. As it relates to opportunities for high school students, those are usually done through partnerships that we have, maybe through the county and or Michigan Works, and then we're kind of like a employer through them. So we do some high schools, but it's usually through a program through one of those organizations, not direct hire.
Great, thank you. And then Anna.
Yeah, so a few things here. We do need them to be 18 years old in order to work in our shop floor. They can always send a resume to the email address hr@williams-int.com. I'm happy to review the resume and provide some feedback. We are kind of ramping up an apprenticeship program. We have had 4 students go through that already in the last year and a half. That recruitment for that usually opens up in August or September, and it would be posted on our careers page on our website. That's to go into machining, a machining apprenticeship. So that's an option. And then other than that, we have also brought students in kind of like an internship basis. So if they're still in school, we'll work with them on a schedule so that they can be here, and it won't interfere with their schooling as long as they are 18 years old. So technical campuses and my 5th year programs, send them my way. We are happy to engage with them. And like I said, we have different venues, whether they pursue an internship program or whether we think they would be a good fit for the apprenticeship program. We do have those options. If they've graduated, they have a GED, and they want to apply to positions off our website, they need to be available to work a full-time schedule when they apply.
And then the last question I see right here from the chat, again, Carlton, are the employers willing to consider pre-workforce training programs in Pontiac, like the TZC program? Anyone, any of the panelists want to respond there?
Tell you, if I could just for a second, maybe talk a little bit, give a call out to Carlton and the Talent Development Coalition program that is operating in Pontiac, where we've brought together program partners like Oakland University, Michigan Works, Literacy Council. I'm going to leave some people off, so I apologize. But then also industry partners. So looking at, for right now, we're focused on construction. I know Carlton's looking to open it up to other industries. But what we have is an 8-week program that includes employment skills, soft skills training. It includes, for instance, safety training, asbestos awareness, first aid, CPR, and also even disc testing. And then 4 weeks, 2 days a week of job shadowing with an industry partner. And that's looking very successful. That one is showing students, we're looking at 18 to 24-year-olds, that are showing the interest of industry to help support them, showing them that people care, and then also having just outstanding support through the program sponsors, through Oakland University, providing that education. And, we're seeing some eyes wide open and looking for opportunities. The industry partners are ecstatic. They're being exposed to students that really want to start their careers. And it's all kind of pre-employment training, but it's looking very, very powerful. And we're hoping very successful and scalable to say other industries and get more students involved. So, we're very proud to be partnering with Carleton and Ricky Bradford and those other partners in this program.
Thank you, Vince, for that update. And certainly, Carleton, it sounds like there's certainly good successes there, as along with partners that are very, very interested and intrigued in partnering certainly in the future. I have one more rapid fire question, and then I'm going to make sure that we have a quick moment for Teresa Rodges, who's our coordinator of the Oakland University Pontiac Initiative. I want her time on the floor to help us wrap up. And I know this afternoon we weren't able to get to all the questions, and I know there's probably even more that we could spend probably another hour on this hot topic. So this has been wonderful, and I appreciate everyone's participation. Great questions coming in. But my hot question is for the panelists. If each of you had a crystal ball in front of you, what do you see the future of the work life looking like beyond the pandemic? And I know many of you are in the thick of it, but beyond the pandemic, do you see hybrid modeling? Do you see some folks returning back to your organizations? Do you see fully virtual continuing and working from home life? So just a brief response to that question, that would be great for the action participants. How about Anna, if you could start with us?
Yeah, sure. We still need people in front of machines, so we're not going virtual. But I think what we have learned through this is we can operate while making room for a lot more social distancing, and those things really matter, and it creates for a healthier work environment no matter what. I think there's things that we probably all did in the past that now we think like, why was I not using hand sanitizer every 5 minutes before, So a lot of room for that. And then also lesson learned, I think this is probably all organizations experience this, but cross-training, we put it on the back burner so many times. And how critical is it when you have to stagger shifts and you have to separate people and you can't have as many people in one area? Cross-training is going to be so critical in making time for that.
Thank you. Great reminder about the social distancing standards for sure. Keontae, next.
I definitely think our workforce will forever be impacted by COVID. Unfortunately, we continue to be impacted. I definitely think for those positions that we were able to allow to work from home, we will definitely see a hybrid model going forward. I think companies are reassessing because we always had space and real estate issues. So I think this has shown that we can do this work and think out the box and do it differently. And I don't think we would have gotten there had it not been for COVID. It's something we've probably thought about, but I don't think we would have pulled the trigger. But again, for our patient care positions and things that have to be at the hospital, other than hopefully getting some relief, that is probably going to pretty much stay the same.
Okay, and Chris, next.
I feel like there's some good things that came out of COVID. I've long been a proponent of people telecommuting. We talked about bringing more women into the workforce, and for some reason, it seems like women are more needing of that type of flexibility because they tend to be a lot of, primary caregivers of children at home. So it has very much proven that not only can it be done, but you can be more efficient by working not inside the office. So that's the one bright spot that I feel like I've seen. We've all gotten pretty good at doing Zoom, and we don't have to spend a lot of money on travel and time to be, going away from the office. We proved tonight how we can be so efficient and exchanging of ideas and seeing each other and remembering each other and collaborating. So I see those as positive bright spots. And although it sometimes feels right now that our economy has kind of a lid on it, and many companies are not producing and doing what they need to do, I feel like when it opens up, it's going to be like turning on the faucet or turning on the light switch. They're going to want the light and the water to come running right now. So it goes down slowly and it stays down. But when it's time to turn it on, baby, they're going to want to turn it on. So we want to be ready for that. So Mr. Jones, I don't know about those programs that you're talking about, but I'd sure love to hear about it. I will get in touch with you. I would like to participate. Even if it's not a good model for our company, we always encourage our HR staff to go help and learn and talk with students, doing mock interviews or whatever it is that takes them to the next level to be a participant in Michigan's economy.
Thank you, Chris. I can actually connect you to Carlton. He's on our committee, workforce development here with the Oakland University Pontiac Initiative. So thank you. And I love the analogy, by the way, that's awesome. Crystal, if you could share.
Our goal after, it's safe to come back to the building, our goal is to bring everybody back together on our campus here in Pontiac. We believe strongly in the camaraderie and the relationship building and the success we have when we're here together. So that's the goal. It'll be when it's safe, of course, but we'll be forever changed by COVID. There will be positions that will exist because of it, and there will be new policies, new processes, new guidelines that we will follow to continue to stay safe. So we'll forever be impacted, but that is ultimately the goal for all of us to be back together in this beautiful campus we have in Pontiac.
Excellent. Thank you. And then Vince, last word on this question.
Yeah, that's certainly, it has absolutely shattered some of our paradigms. Would an employee ask to be able to work at home? It would have been no, forget about it. But that certainly has been completely shattered by what's gone on. However, I also support Crystal in her comments of we look forward to getting people more back into the office. We're working probably about 50%. We're following the Michigan rules for where things can't be done remotely, but getting people back so they can collaborate and they can grow. We really need that happen through that interaction. So we see more remote work, some flexibility in schedules. They'll be part of the program. And then also in the field to keep the jobs running safely. Can't do those remotely. That it's just following those great practices that have kept our jobs operating, without any outbreaks. That we'll keep that going. And I guess the optimistic thing too is these skills that we have learned, maybe we'll avoid other infectious diseases such as the flu, colds, and things that have gone through job sites that we're hopeful that will benefit from that.
Excellent. Thank you, Vince. And before I turn it over to final remarks from Teresa Rodges, I just wanted to remind all the participants that we are capturing a great summary resource document. Many of the resources have been shared, whether it's the institutional partners, educational partners through, as well as Michigan Works, as well as a lot of connection through these companies and their websites for job postings. So we will be sharing that out as long as you did register. And if for some reason you don't have your information shared with us, I will put my email address in the chat, and you can copy it and send anything to me if you have that follow-up question. But beyond today, we are going to send a survey out to all the participants. So if we are going to seek your feedback, if you have input or a question that didn't get answered, please include it in the survey. And we want to make sure this is all about community conversations and about collaborations. And there's no one more energized about this OU Pontiac initiative than Teresa Rodges. So I do want to allow her closing remarks. She is the Senior Director of Community Services and Pre-College Programs at Oakland University and our coordinator of the OU Pontiac initiative. So please, Teresa, for closing remarks.
All right. Thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you, and your team for all of the hard work that you have put forth with this forum today. I also want to thank, I think I saw Paul Galbinski on the Zoom call, as well as Dean Michael Mazzio. And of course, you guys know Carlton Jones. They are the pillar leaders for our workforce development area. There are also other pillar leaders that have joined us, and I want to thank you as well. So the pillar employer panel members, you have been awesome today. I mean, you are telling us what we need to know and what many of us already know. We know and have heard you today that employers are increasingly having difficulty finding employees with the knowledge and training required to meet their workforce needs, and many are willing to train the employees. Many high schools and college graduates, as well as some adult workers, lack fundamental skills, and particularly those soft skills you talked about that are needed for 21st century workplace. I think that all of you will agree that the lack of fundamental skills exacerbates unemployment and stifles economic growth. As Wayne mentioned, we have a great partner in Michigan Works with Jennifer Llewellyn and Chanel Shelby to eliminate some of these barriers mentioned. We also have other community partners that are focusing on those soft skill barriers that block individuals from succeeding on the job. Chris and Kenyante, you mentioned the common courtesy, attendance, employees calling in when they can't make it to work. Those are things that many employers are seeing that in our work with Michigan Works, we are trying to focus on those types of barriers that cause our residents in Pontiac not to, to succeed in employment. And so we have heard you loud and clear. And I know some of our community partners that I keep looking to the right and left on my phone and other computers, that they're just chiming in saying that we're hearing them. We want to work. We want to go to work. We want to make sure that, especially our students coming out of high school are prepared to take advantage of those jobs. Kenyante, when you mentioned the entry-level healthcare careers, such as med techs, PCT, EKG techs, I remember when I was working in the nursing department over that Focus Hope continuing ed nursing program, we started that PCT program that trained Pontiac High School students in EKG and phlebotomy. And we're looking at other program. So I can't wait to meet with Kelly Williams and our PK through 16 education pillar, including John Marjam Lays and others, to let them know about you're still interested in hiring students from Pontiac to fulfill those jobs. And then in working with Vince, that awesome, and Carlton, that awesome apprenticeship program. I was working through the Pontiac Promise Zone, just making sure that students had access to the money that's available out there. You're talking about high school students that have access to over $1 million to take advantage of post-secondary education opportunities. And so that means they can go to college, a university, trade school, etc. So we're going to be working very hard. We just hired a new executive director of the Promise Zone to work with us to ensure that students are prepared. The one other opportunity that I have most recently is to work with pre-college programs to make sure that they are ready to take advantage of going to college, career opportunities that have been mentioned today. And so, Vince, we also, the skills in math and in construction jobs, I'm just taking all kind of little notes here. Those math skills and English skills, we're working with Dr. Paula Watkins. I know she's on this call. And we have hired 12 Oakland University students to work with Pontiac Middle School and Pontiac High School students to help them with their math and ELS skills. So I know that we know that they need these skills. And when we hear about it over and over again, you got to do something about it. You can't hear about it and not do something about it. SAT prep courses. And so those are some of the other things that we're trying to work on. Crystal mentioned the need for computer skills and the ability to navigate electronically. You figure if students can work those thumbs on those phones, surely they can work a computer, right? And so oftentimes it's just a matter of engaging our young people to let them know that these jobs are available out there and they pay good money. I keep hearing Kenyante say how much money they can make in these jobs, and then Vince, the astronomical amount of money that they can make in construction. I think we got to do a better job as leaders to train our students up so that they can take advantage of this. So, you know, I mentioned OU Pontiac Initiative, pre-college programs, working with, you know, cyber ed and other community partners. And I'm hoping that other partners that are on this phone, that on this Zoom call, that have, you know, the ability to work with the OU Pontiac Initiative in preparing our residents, our students particularly, for 21st century jobs, will come to the table with us so that we can make a huge difference and fill some of these education gaps. So I can say again that we heard our employers loud and clear, right? We did, all these people that I know on this phone. So I can say from here, Wayne, through our workforce development pillar, we will be following up with the employers to see how can we partner better to get you qualified individuals that can come and work, you know, at your sites, at your companies, and that we can produce some good, you know, employees for you with however we can work with you. So once again, just on behalf of Oakland University, the OU Pontiac Initiative, and all of the other organizations that we're affiliated with on this call, you know what, employers, we can't thank you for voicing what your needs are. And I think that we are here to work with you. You know, Vince talked about that apprenticeship program and just a partnership with Jennifer and Chanel, and that, you know, that beginning piece of getting, you know, our residents ready for you. Those soft skills, those wraparound skills, making sure they have transportation. We hear you loud and clear. That's needed before they even apply for your jobs, right? Because if they don't have those barriers taken care of, when they come to work for you, they're not going to be there very long. So once again, I can say we hear you loud and clear. We're going to continue to work through our workforce development pillar, and especially through our PK through 16 education pillar, to work with Kelly to ensure that some of those students are just introduced to the careers that are out there. A lot of times, you know, students don't know what they want until they set foot on Oakland University, or until they set foot into the hospitals and on your construction sites. And then they say, oh my God, I finally found a career. And we know through opportunities like the Pontiac Promise Zone, the tuition is taken care of. For Pontiac students coming out through that Pontiac school district, they can get $6,000 for training. So our community partners out there, if there's training out there that you need for certified programs through the state or what have you, please connect with me for the Pontiac Promise Zone. We're here to work with you, and we're definitely going to be in those schools this summer or this fall. You know, virtually this summer, we're doing some things, but definitely this fall to ensure that you have the employees that you need to be successful in Pontiac. So I'm going to turn it back over to Wayne Thibodeau. Wayne, thanks again for all of your hard work. We really appreciate you and what you bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and all your support. Thank you to the panelists. Please just give a virtual round of applause to all the panelists. We greatly appreciate you and your partnerships, and we look forward to working with you. Again, you'll not only receive the resource guide, we did record the session, and I also provided a link to the OU Pontiac Initiative. So everyone, have a great evening, and thank you all for your participation.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you all. Good night.
Thank you.